Have you ever opened a closet or a drawer and felt a little overwhelmed by the sheer number of things staring back at you? Maybe it's stacks of papers, clothing you haven't worn in years, or keepsakes that once had meaning but now just sit gathering dust. Many of us reach a point in life where we realize that the things we hold on to don't always bring us the peace or happiness we thought they would. In fact, sometimes they create more stress than comfort. And here's the truth. The older we get, the more we value simplicity, not just in our homes, but in our hearts and relationships. That's where minimalism comes in. Now, don't worry, I'm not talking about living with only one chair and a toothbrush. Minimalism doesn't mean stripping life bare. It's about clearing away the excess so you can focus on what matters most. For those of us over 60, that often means health, peace of mind, and most importantly, our family. This video is all about how minimalism can actually strengthen the bonds we share with our loved ones. By living simple, we open the door to loving deeper. Think about it. When the house is less cluttered, it's easier for your children or grandchildren to come over and feel relaxed. When your calendar isn't stuffed with obligations you don't enjoy, you suddenly have more energy to spend on meaningful conversations, a walk in the park, or sharing a meal together. Simplicity creates space, both physical and emotional, for connection. One of the first ways minimalism touches family life is by changing how we see possessions. For decades, many of us worked hard, saved diligently, and filled our homes with furniture, clothes, collections, and little treasures. Those things served a purpose once, but now they might be taking up more space than they should. When we start letting go of items we no longer need, we're not just clearing shelves, we're lifting a weight off ourselves. And here's the part most people don't realize. It's also a gift to our family. You see, one day our children or grandchildren may need to handle the things we leave behind. By simplifying now, we ease that future burden. I've spoken with so many people who said they felt overwhelmed when their parents passed, not because of grief alone, but because of the mountain of belongings they had to sort through. Every box, every drawer, every stack of papers carried not just dust, but decisions. Do I keep this? Do I donate it? Will I feel guilty if I throw it away? By choosing to let go ourselves, we give our loved ones the freedom to grieve and remember us without being weighed down by our stuff. That is one of the most loving gifts we can leave behind. Another powerful part of minimalism is how it shifts our focus from material things to shared experiences. Ask yourself this: what do your grandchildren remember more, the toy you bought them last Christmas, or the time you sat on the porch together eating ice cream and laughing until your sides hurt? Chances are, it's the laughter. Minimalism reminds us that memories last far longer than objects. That doesn't mean we stop giving gifts altogether, but it encourages us to think differently. Instead of another sweater that might sit in a closet, maybe it's tickets to a play, a picnic at the park, or a simple scrapbook filled with family photos and stories. These kinds of gifts don't just fill space, they fill hearts. And when you create traditions around experiences instead of things, your family will carry those stories for generations. Of course, simplifying isn't always easy. Sometimes we hold on to things because they feel like part of our identity. Maybe it's the china set passed down from your mother, or the boxes of photographs from when your children were little. Letting go doesn't mean we have to erase our past. In fact, it gives us a chance to preserve what's most meaningful. Perhaps you don't need the entire china set, but keeping one teacup and sharing its story with your granddaughter creates a memory that's far more valuable than the whole collection gathering dust in a cabinet. Photographs are another area where minimalism can truly strengthen family bonds. Instead of leaving them in boxes where no one sees them, take the time to go through them. Keep the ones that matter most. Digitize them if you can, and share them with your family. Imagine sitting down with your grandchild, scrolling through pictures of your younger days, and telling them stories they've never heard before. You're not just decluttering, you're passing on history in a way that connects generations. Minimalism also has a way of calming our living spaces, which directly affects how our families Interact with us. Picture this. Your children stop by for dinner. Instead of navigating around piles of magazines or squeezing into an overcrowded living room, they walk into a space that feels open, calm, and welcoming. They're not distracted by clutter. They can focus on you, and you can focus on them. A peaceful environment invites deeper conversations, laughter, and togetherness. The same is true for your own state of mind. When you walk into a room and see clutter, it can stir up stress even if you don't realize it. But when you walk into a room that feels light and uncluttered, you naturally relax. That sense of calm ripples out to your family. They feel it too, and it makes your home a place they want to spend more time in. In this way, minimalism becomes not just a personal lifestyle, but a family gift. And perhaps one of the most beautiful lessons minimalism teaches us is presence. When you're not chasing after the next thing to buy, clean, or organize, you have more time to truly be with your loved ones. You can listen to your spouse's stories without feeling rushed. You can watch your grandchild's soccer game without checking your phone. You can share a cup of tea with a friend and really savor the moment. The less clutter we carry both in our homes and in our minds, the more present we become. This is the heart of minimalism and family. Living simple so we can love deeper. It's not about giving up comfort or memories. It's about creating more space for joy, connection, and peace. And as we continue, we'll explore more ways minimalism can shape not only our homes, but our relationships in ways that bring lasting happiness. Now, let's take this idea of presence and connection a little further, because minimalism isn't only about cleaning out closets or deciding which dishes to keep. It also changes the way we spend our days, how we prioritize time, and how we nurture our closest relationships. When we've stripped away the unnecessary, suddenly what remains becomes crystal clear, and often, it's our family that rises to the top of that list. Think about your daily routines for a moment. How much of your day is filled with tasks that drain you rather than lift you? Maybe it's endless cleaning, shuffling through paperwork, or maintaining things you don't even use. Minimalism invites us to ask, what if I didn't have so much to manage? What if I chose to release some of these responsibilities so I could spend more of my energy on meaningful moments with the people I love? Imagine replacing an afternoon of sorting through boxes with an afternoon spent playing board games with your grandchildren. Which memory would stay with you longer? Time is the one resource we never get back. And as we grow older, we feel its value more keenly than ever. By simplifying, we reclaim time. A home that takes less effort to maintain is a home that gives us hours back, hours to share with family, to laugh, to listen, to be fully present. Minimalism doesn't just clear space on shelves, it clears space in our lives. It also reshapes the way we handle family gatherings. For many people, holidays or birthdays can become stressful events filled with shopping, wrapping, decorating, and preparing endless amounts of food. The focus drifts away from connection and lands on logistics. But when we embrace a minimalist mindset, we start asking what really matters during those occasions. Is it the mountain of presents under the tree, or is it the joy of everyone being together, telling stories and making memories? Is it the elaborate table setting that takes days to perfect, or is it the laughter that fills the room? By simplifying how we celebrate, we not only reduce stress for ourselves, but we make those gatherings more welcoming and enjoyable for everyone. A potluck dinner instead of a feast cooked by one person. A single thoughtful gift instead of 10 small ones. A family walk after a meal instead of hours of cleanup. These choices don't diminish the celebration, they deepen it. They remind us that togetherness, not extravagance, is the true heart of family traditions. Minimalism also opens the door for stronger communication within families. When we slow down and step away from constant busyness, we create opportunities for deeper conversations. I've heard many people say that when they finally pared down the noise in their lives, they started hearing their loved ones more clearly. Not just their words, but their hearts. Picture sitting with your spouse at the kitchen table, no television humming in the background, no clutter on the counters, just a quiet space where you can truly talk. Or think of calling your adult child and not feeling rushed to hang up because you've got a dozen tasks waiting. Simplicity gives us the freedom to listen, and listening builds stronger bonds than any object ever could. And then there's the way. Minimalism teaches us to model values for younger generations. Children and grandchildren notice how we live, often more than what we say. When they see us choosing experiences over things. When they see us caring less about keeping up with trends and more about keeping up with one another, we're teaching them something profound. We're showing them that joy doesn't come from accumulation, it comes from connection. This lesson is especially important in today's world, where consumerism constantly tells young people they need more, newer, bigger. By living simply, we give them permission to live differently. There's also something incredibly powerful about telling stories around objects we choose to keep. For example, you might keep one photograph of your wedding day and use it as a chance to share with your grandchildren what that day was like, how you felt, what love meant to you then, and what it means to you now. Or you might hold on to your father's pocket watch, not because it has monetary value, but because it carries history and with it, the chance to tell the next generation about the kind of man he was. In this way, the few items we keep become bridges of love and memory, far stronger than shelves crowded with things no one remembers. Of course, there may be resistance at first, especially when it comes to family traditions. Perhaps your children are used to certain ways of celebrating, or your spouse finds comfort in holding on to familiar things. Minimalism doesn't mean forcing everyone around you to change overnight. It's about gently shifting the focus, inviting conversation, and showing, through your actions, how much lighter life can feel when you choose less. Often, your peace will speak louder than words. Your family may notice how much calmer you seem, how much more present you are, and they may slowly begin to adopt similar changes in their own lives. And here's something else worth considering. Minimalism doesn't only benefit your immediate family. It also strengthens your friendships and your community. When your home feels calm and uncluttered, you're more likely to invite friends over without the stress of preparing for days. When you're not chasing after possessions, you might find yourself volunteering, mentoring, or simply spending more time with people who matter. That spirit of connection naturally ripples outward, bringing more warmth not only into your family, but into the circles around you. Minimalism, at its core, is a practice of aligning our lives with what matters most. For those of us over 60, what matters most is rarely stuff. It's time, health, and love. It's watching grandchildren grow, holding hands with a spouse, sharing meals with old friends, and creating memories that linger long after the plates are cleared. It's about simplifying so we can live more fully, and through that fullness, our families are enriched in ways that last far beyond us. Now, as we continue this journey, let's look at how these choices of simplicity not only affect our relationships, but also help us create a legacy, a way of living and loving that will continue to inspire our families long after we're gone. When we start thinking about legacy, many of us picture the things we'll leave behind: money, property, family heirlooms. But what if the most valuable legacy isn't the things at all? What if it's the way we live, the lessons we pass down, and the love we share? Minimalism helps us shift that perspective, showing us that the true treasures we leave to our families aren't stored in boxes or bank accounts, but in the way we've chosen to live with purpose and presence. Imagine your grandchildren one day talking about you. Will they remember the number of shoes you owned or the fancy decorations in your home? Probably not. They'll remember how you made them feel. They'll remember the quiet afternoons you spent listening to their stories, the laughter you shared during family dinners, or the wisdom you passed down through a simple conversation. Minimalism clears away the distractions so those moments become the focus, and those memories become the inheritance. There's a phrase I love. We don't inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. The same is true for the way we live. Our families will inherit the habits, the traditions, and the values we model. By embracing a simpler life, we show them that joy doesn't come from clutter or accumulation, it comes from connection, gratitude, and love. That is a legacy that doesn't fade with time. Think for a moment about the physical legacy we leave. Many people spend their later years worrying about how their belongings will be divided, whether their family will fight over items, or how much of a burden their estate will be. But minimalism offers us a chance to lift that weight long before it becomes an issue. By letting go of what no longer serves us, we can carefully choose the few meaningful things to pass on, objects that carry stories, not just dust. A handwritten letter, a recipe passed down for generations, or a quilt stitched with love may hold far more value than a garage full of unused furniture. This act of simplifying doesn't mean we erase our lives, it means we curate them. We keep the pieces that matter, the ones that tell our story, and release the rest. And when we do, our families aren't left with confusion or conflict, but with clarity. They know which items mattered most to us, and in turn, those items will matter to them. Another powerful piece of legacy minimalism offers is teaching resilience and adaptability. When we show our families that we can let go, that we can live well with less, we're teaching them that happiness doesn't depend on circumstances or possessions. We're teaching them that life's richness comes from relationships, gratitude, and the ability to find joy in simplicity. Those are lessons they can carry through their own lives, long after we're gone. Minimalism also allows us to be more generous. When we release excess, we create opportunities to give. Donating clothes, furniture, or household items not only clears our homes, but blesses someone else who may truly need them. Imagine your children or grandchildren watching you give freely, without hesitation, modeling a spirit of generosity. That lesson alone may inspire them to live more open-hearted lives, where they too share what they have with others. In this way, our legacy expands beyond our family and touches the wider community. But perhaps the most meaningful gift minimalism offers is peace. A peaceful home, a peaceful mind, and peaceful relationships are worth more than any possession. When our families visit and feel that calm, when they see us living without stress from clutter or the pressure to keep up, they receive something invaluable, a model of what contentment looks like. In a world that often feels rushed and noisy, that peace becomes a beacon. It's also worth remembering that legacy is built in everyday moments, not grand gestures. Choosing to turn off the television and really listen. Choosing to take a walk with a loved one instead of shopping for something new. Choosing to cook a simple meal together instead of stressing over perfection. Each of these small decisions creates ripples, shaping how our family remembers us and how they choose to live themselves. And here's something beautiful. Legacy doesn't have to wait until we're gone. We can enjoy it now. Every time we share a story, every time we simplify a family tradition, every time we create space for connection, we're already living our legacy. Our children and grandchildren don't have to wait to feel the impact, they're experiencing it in real time. So, as we reflect on minimalism and family, it's clear that this isn't just about decluttering or owning fewer things. It's about creating a life where love takes center stage, where presence replaces distraction, and where the legacy we leave is one of joy, peace, and connection. The things we release fade quickly, but the love we nurture endures. If you take one thing from this conversation, let it be this. Simplicity is not about less life, it's about more. More love, more laughter, more connection, more freedom to live fully in the moments that matter most. Minimalism is simply the doorway that helps us step into that kind of life. And as you think about your own journey, remember you don't have to change everything overnight. Even one small step, like clearing out a drawer or choosing to spend time with family instead of shopping, begins to shift the balance. Over time, those small steps add up to a life that feels lighter, more intentional, and more deeply connected. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What's one way you've simplified your life, or one thing you'd like to let go of, so you can love deeper? Share it in the comments, because your story might inspire someone else who needs to hear it. And if you found this message helpful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more conversations like this. Here's to living simple, loving deeper, and leaving behind a legacy of peace and joy. Because at the end of the day, it's not the things we own that matter, it's the love we give and the memories we create. Have you noticed how, as we simplify, our days begin to feel more spacious, not just on the outside, but inside too? That's the real gift of minimalism. It's not about a perfectly tidy living room or a closet with neatly folded clothes, though those things are nice. It's about the way simplicity clears room in our hearts for gratitude. And when gratitude grows, love deepens. Gratitude is what turns an ordinary cup of tea with your spouse into a memory worth holding on to. It's what makes the sound of a grandchild's laughter more precious than anything money can buy. When our lives are cluttered, it's easy to overlook those small blessings. But when we create simplicity, we create space to notice them and to savor them. And the beauty is, gratitude doesn't stop with us. It ripples out. When our families see us living with less, yet feeling more joy, they begin to realize that happiness isn't tied to things. They see that fulfillment doesn't come from what we own, but from how we live and love. That realization can be one of the greatest gifts we pass on, not wrapped in paper, but written quietly in the way we live each day. Now, I know change can feel uncomfortable. Letting go isn't always easy, and sometimes the people around us may not understand why we're doing it. But remember this: every drawer you clear, every moment you choose presence over distraction, every tradition you reshape, these are not small acts. They are seeds. Seeds that grow into freedom, peace, and stronger family bonds. And just like seeds, their impact may not show immediately, but in time, they blossom in ways we could never imagine. Minimalism is really about courage. The courage to say, I don't need more to be happy. The courage to face the things we've carried for years and ask whether they're still serving us. The courage to live a little differently, even when the world tells us to consume more, buy more, and chase more. And perhaps most importantly, the courage to focus on what truly matters: love, relationships, and the memories we create with the people we care about. As we bring this journey to a close, I'd like to invite you to take a small, gentle step today. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. Maybe it's choosing one item in your home that no longer serves you and letting it go. Maybe it's calling a loved one instead of buying something new. Maybe it's sitting quietly, reflecting on what you're most grateful for in this season of your life. Whatever it is, let it be simple. Because simple steps, taken consistently, create extraordinary change. And let me tell you this: there's no too late when it comes to living simply and loving deeply. Whether you're 60, 70, or well beyond, each day is a fresh chance to create space for joy. Each day is an opportunity to write your legacy of love. Minimalism isn't about counting what we've given up, it's about counting the blessings we've uncovered in the process. So, as you move forward, remember this truth: your value is not in the things you own, but in the love you give. Your family will not measure your life by how many possessions you collected, but by how deeply you connected. And every choice you make to live simply, to live with intention, brings you closer to the life and the love that truly matters. Thank you for sharing this time with me. If this message has touched you, I'd love to hear your story. What's one small way you found joy in simplicity? Leave a comment below and inspire others who are walking this path alongside you. And if you'd like to keep exploring how to live with more peace, love, and purpose, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Here's to you living simple, loving deeper, and leaving behind a legacy that can't be measured in things, but will be felt in hearts for generations to come. Because at the end of it all, that's what really matters.